A Zion Williamson video was long overdue because I've been sitting on one for quite some time, and I thought the perfect time to do it was after he made the Phoenix Suns' entire team look like children. I just find it funny how, when he was 15 years of age, dunking on those small, innocent white kids that were about 90 pounds soaking wet, everyone was like, he's not going to do that at the college level. He's just a one-hit wonder. He's a high school kind of phenom. College level, serious athletes he's going against. He does the exact same thing. He makes them look like children as well. The NBA level, like, come on, he's Julius Randle with hops. That's what I heard. Jay Crowder, DeAndre Ayton, like, just rock the baby on every single person in the NBA. I haven't seen one person where Zion hasn't just been like, okay, just get out of my way, I'm going to score. He's making everyone look like a child. And this is against serious athletes. Only 43 games into his NBA career. It needs to be talked about. Now, before I talk about all of that stuff, if you could drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel, that would be much appreciated. I make content like this every single day, and doing so, it really helps out how the video goes, so it would just be much appreciated. But with a lot of people nitpicking at the prospects of Zion recently, oh, he's too fat, he eats too much gumbo, he's stuck in New Orleans in a terrible situation, he can't play defense, are his knees going to hold up, I don't know, all of these things, people are just nitpicking at every single thing he can't do, or everything that's wrong about him. I'm talking about what's good about him, and the prospects of him going forward, because I genuinely think when you put him in the conversation with guys like Luka Doncic, Ja Morant, Devin Booker, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, all of these players that I've seen multiple people say are more promising, are better than Zion. Going forward, they're going to be better. Right now, they're better than Zion. You see these kind of names thrown out all the time. I just want to talk about what Zion has done 43 games into his NBA career, and let's compare him to some of those other names I mentioned, because people are comparing him to guys that have been in the league for multiple years, guys that have played hundreds of games at this point in time, whereas he is effectively half a season through his NBA career. Effectively, he's played half a season worth of basketball, and we're seeing how much he's growing just each game. So by the end of the season, then we can start comparing him, and let's see if he's still in that same category with some of those other guys that you want to put his name in. Instead of comparing him to modern day players, let's compare him to the only players that you can actually compare what he's done through 43 games to. And that is, well, David Robinson, Shaquille O'Neal, and Michael Jordan in their rookie years. The only three players to have scored more points throughout their first 43 games. Also, one thing about those three players, 3 first ballot Hall of Famers, 3 MVPs, 3 champions, one thing about those players in their rookie years when they were getting those kind of points, all 3 of those players played 37 to 38 minutes a night. Zion was coming off injury, and he played 30 minutes a night over the course of his first 43 games. And he's right up there. Only Michael Jordan has more 20-plus point games throughout their first 43 games of his career. And people say, that's a weird stat. Yeah, it is kind of a weird stat because it's 43 games. But basically, they're just saying at this point in his NBA career, which just happens to be 43 games, he's right up there with Michael Jordan in terms of scoring. But apparently, it's not good enough to compare him to the old heads because I don't know why, but it just seems like it's not real enough for people to realize that he's putting up these kind of numbers. Let's compare him to some of the newer players. You got the likes of Luka Doncic, who is currently seen as the most promising player in the NBA, like the best young player, and then Ja Morant, who's seen as potentially the best player from Zion's draft class. Through 43 games, again, how many games Zion has played? Zion put up 23, 7, and 2 on 59% effective field goal percentage. Incredible numbers. Luka Doncic, 25 and 7 on 52% effective field goal percentage, and Ja Morant, 17.5, 7 assists, 3 rebounds on 52% effective field goal percentage. So I could be missing something, but they just don't seem like the same kind of scorer as Zion is. They don't seem as efficient. They don't seem as damaging. But I want to hear about all the defense that everyone talks about. Was Luka Doncic playing defense in his first year? No, he just wasn't. Like, let's be honest. Luka is clearly at a different level now, and Zion has to reach that. But Luka, throughout his first season, his first 43 games, it took him 70 games and then another off-season of being healthy and getting into the groove of things before he took that elite step, which was still early, considering it normally takes longer than 2 years to take that step. But Luka needed 70 games and a good off-season. Zion has had 43 games, and he's being compared to Luka and Ja Morant, who have all played more games and have had more continuity in their body and in their team as well. But I just wanted to start off the video by comparing him to some other players because it makes it a bit more tangible when all these people, you've probably seen Luka Doncic, Ja Morant, Michael Jordan, David Robinson, all of these guys play a lot more than Zion Williamson, because I don't think anyone seems to be watching Pelicans games, which I can't blame you for. But why do I think Zion's going to get even better? Let's talk about Zion. His finishing, his quickness, his crossover, his hesitations, his spin moves. It's something we just haven't seen. This guy is like 260 pounds and he moves like a guard. I think all these people have this misconception that he's just some kind of big bulldozer. Yeah, he is that. I've heard people say, sag off him like you do to Ben Simmons. Would you sag off to someone with guard level skills and a guard level crossover and an ability to get to the rim like no one else in the league? He's averaging the most points in the paint since Shaquille O'Neal, and he hasn't even played a full season worth of games. He's getting double teamed every time he goes into the paint. He's playing with no spacing. He's playing alongside Steven Adams, Lonzo Ball, Eric Bledsoe, Nico Melli at times, and he's averaging the most points in the paint since Shaquille O'Neal. Giannis's MVP season wasn't more than what Zion's currently putting up. Still a small sample size. It's only about 20 games into the season. But like I mentioned, you can't sag off on him like Ben Simmons because he'll just get ahead of steam and he'll either go straight past you because he's insanely quick. He's got a really good crossover. He doesn't have a ton of moves. He doesn't do anything crazy, but he's got a good spin move, a good crossover, a good between the legs, a good little in and out dribble. That's all you need. And he's at the rim and then he's finishing over you, because once you get behind Zion, good luck. Or if you want to stand back and try to take the contact, take a charge, just ask Rashawn Holmes how that went, because he ended up in the bleachers. I've seen a number of people end up on the floor, end up just knocked over trying to take a charge or just trying to go up vertical against Zion Williamson. Just let him attack them. No, he's not like the Ben Simmonses of the world. He can blow past you. I don't think people understand this guy has guard skills trapped in a 6'7", 280-pound body. But more importantly than just what he does well, which he does a lot of things extraordinarily well, he's improving aspects of his game. And I think that's why it's important to notice how little games he's played, because it's not just about how long they've been in the NBA, but you need to get that match experience. Then you start to realize the game speed. He said the game's starting to slow down for him, and you can notice that because he's turning the ball over less. And when he gets double teams, all of those kind of things, instead of rushing, instead of panicking, trying to just go up and shoot the ball, now all of a sudden he's making the right plays. That's resulting in more assists, and more importantly, it's just better offense for the team. So often Zion will get double teamed, he'll kick it out to someone who will then kick it out to someone, and then it's an open shot. Doesn't always end in an assist for Zion, but he's creating so much offense pretty much every single time he gets the ball in his hands that you just have to think, get the ball in his hands a bit more. We saw that against Phoenix, and he did wonders. 12 of 14 from the field, 6 assists, 28 points, hit a 3-ball as well, which is another thing he's improving. He shot over 70% from the line in his last 14 games. He's starting to look like a decent free throw shooter. He's now hit a 3 in his last 3 games in a row. He's starting to look more confident doing that. He's hit a couple of mid-range jump shots as well. He's got an arsenal around the rim. He's definitely not just a layup merchant. Offensively, Zion Williamson is special, and I think he's got the scoring aspect already. We know that, but the playmaking is coming, and it's coming very, very fast. All of a sudden, he's making some plays in transition. He definitely makes plays out of the post like pretty much no one else in the league. I mean, when you just look at his numbers per post-up, which he's not getting enough post-ups, he's less than half of Joel Embiid, who's got the most post-ups in the league. Get Zion up to like 7, 8, 9 post-ups a game because he's just so effective, and the numbers back it up. Whenever Zion gets it in the paint, whenever he gets it up on a post-up, ultimately the team often scores. So just do that a bit more, Stan Van Gundy, and we're seeing a bit more of that. This is finally what we've seen. We've finally seen Zion be utilized in a good lineup. To start the season, they were putting the likes of Brandon Ingram, Steven Adams, Eric Bledsoe around him, and I was scratching my head. I'm like, how? Why are you thinking this? You're an NBA coach. And all of a sudden, they start putting the likes of JJ Redick, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Lonzo Ball, even someone like Willie Hernan-Gomez around him. Just guys that aren't clogging the paint as much as you would have had with other guys, and allowing Zion to be the bona fide number one option. And it's starting to really benefit him. Over the last 10 games, he's averaging over 25 points a game on just under 63% from the field. and over 3 assists a game. He's putting up the best numbers of his career recently, and he's doing this against top defenses as well. Keep in mind, I briefly touched on the defense, but I may as well cover it a bit more in depth because I know that's going to be most of the hate comments, if there are any hate comments in this video about Zion Williamson. He can't defend. He's never going to be a good defender because he can't move laterally. Well, did you watch the game against the Phoenix Suns? If you did, then he played good defense. If you didn't, well, he played good defense. News to you. He's also been improving his defense. Every game I've seen, he's becoming a better man defender. He still has some lapses in concentration, and sometimes his reaction speed isn't the best. But as a man defender, he's become okay. In terms of team defense, let's factor in a few things that normally go into team defense. When you want to become a good team defender at a young age, you want to be playing with vocal leaders in a good defense, with a good environment, a good stable environment with players that are all going to help you defend. Zion's played with a different coach, different teammates, in a different scheme, different positions, and played on and off in terms of basketball, in terms of being injured and a number of different things. Team defense is the hardest thing to pick up on, and I think we're seeing recently he's making less mistakes. He still makes mistakes. That's going to happen. But I think some people get it confused for him just not showing any effort. Sometimes he just looks lost out there, and that's the reality of someone 40 games into their NBA career, having to play under 2 different coaches, under 2 different schemes, with a number of different teammates, and no real vocal leaders that are going to tell him to get into place. You don't have a Draymond Green. You don't have the luxury of that like other teams have. So that's the reality. It's going to be a growing process for him defensively. It's being overblown that he's a bad defender because people just piggyback on other people's thoughts. And once someone says that he's a bad defender, everyone's like, oh yeah, he's a bad defender because I'm not actually watching the games, but I heard someone call him a bad defender. Am I calling him a good defender? No. But do I think he's improved and he's continually improving and there's a reason that he struggled? Yes. Pretty much all I've got to say on Zion Williamson. At the moment, he's pretty much in the rarest of rarest company throughout the first 43 games of his career. When I said he could be an MVP level player this year, maybe I was premature, but next year, or just if he continues it up, he's got to be an all-star if he can continue this up. And the Pelicans might have finally realized that put him around some shooters. Keep in mind, he's had terrible spacing throughout the first 45 games of his career. Put him in Milwaukee. How much does he average in Milwaukee? That's a question that I'm going to leave you with. A lot. A lot. It's ridiculous because some of the driving lanes I see Giannis get, Zion doesn't get any of that sort. Zion is often facing 2 bodies and he still makes it work. The dude is a generational talent that gets hate for absolutely no reason. He was a dominant force in college and now he's a dominant force in the NBA, putting guys to sleep like he's reading them a lullaby. Russell Westbrook thinks he's the baby whisperer. No, it's Zion Williamson, I'm afraid.